What's up, guys? It's Gardy B with the Jenkins Jonez show. As always, I'm here with my good internet buddies, Dragonfly Jones, a.k.a. Tyler.
What's up, guys?
LeJethro Jenkins, a.k.a. John.
What's up, bubbas? And if you fuck with us, you want to see more of our content, please jump on YouTube and subscribe to our channel.
The other big sports story of the week, Jon Gruden had a series of emails in an investigation into the Washington football team's misconduct. Emails that Jon Gruden had sent while he was an ESPN employee that included homophobic slurs, had included racial comments about D. Smith and his lips, which seemed to have been something that was going to be forgiven until this sort of other stuff came out. Not forgiven by us, John, but forgiven by the media or
I hear you.
His employer or whatever.
It
is, no, 100%. And I think this gets to the heart of a lot of people who said this, but I think this gets to the heart of something that you guys have talked about a lot on this podcast. You feel like a lot of coaches are writing, a lot of people are writing emails like this or sending texts like this or making comments like this on fucking phone calls with their friends. Jon Gruden, we really learn is that Jon Gruden is stupid enough to put this shit in a work email, right? Yes. So I don't know. What was your reaction, Tyler?
Okay, so going off what you said about how Jon Gruden was not only a bigot but a fucking idiotic bigot, right? Like that's kind of where I'm at with it. Jon Gruden, he's not the first to be exposed for saying some bigoted, racist, homophobic shit. He won't be the last, but every single time this happens, there's always a very vocal crowd, right? A very vocal crowd asking everyone to look past all the bigotry on display. And, they've always got excuses. They've always got excuses for why we should. They never come flat out and say, I'm okay with bigotry. We all know that's their stance. You know what I'm saying? When they go to bat for these exposed bigots, but they never come out and say it. Instead, they try to offer these excuses for why we should look past the bigotry at hand by trying to flip the narrative, by trying to, flip the narrative on some redemption arc shit or some growth shit. That was 10 years ago. He's grown since then. They don't even know these motherfuckers, but they're telling us they've grown, right? Or by attempting to minimize it. It was a private conversation. What if everyone heard your private conversations? Like I said, we never hear them come flat out and say, I support bigotry and I support this bigot being bigoted, even though we all know that's truly their stance with these flimsy ass arguments. They flip the whole fucking narrative upside down and frame the bigot as the victim while having zero regard for the people the victim targeted, the bigot targeted. But in this situation with Gruden, with all the bigotry, all the racism, all the homophobia on display, despite all that, we saw a fucking masterclass of stupidity put on full display. Bro, Gruden used his company email to say these things. His company email.
To use the F slur, bro.
Right. He used his company email
on jgruden at ESPN.com.
Right. He used his company email to call the commissioner of the NFL a homophobic slur. He used his company email to say racist things about the president of the Players Association. If you don't think the sheer utter stupidity that was on full display here was a fireable offense, then you're telling on yourself, bro. You're telling on yourself even more than you normally would do as a bigotry apologist because of the unprecedented level of stupidity on Gruden's part here. You're finally saying the quiet part out loud. If you're saying that Gruden didn't deserve to get fired here, that being stupid enough to use your company email to spew bigotry about prominent members in your company isn't a fireable offense, right? Then you're finally saying the quiet part out loud, bro. You're saying there will never be an instance when bigotry is unacceptable for you. You're riding for bigotry at all times, even if it's carried out in the most fucking stupid, idiotic ways. You're not going to bat for the right to grow. You're not going to bat for the sanctity of privacy. You never were. You're going to bat for bigotry, and you always were. And I wish these people would just come out and say that when shit like this happens and stop playing in our fucking face about it.
What's wild to me is the motherfuckers that look like you and me that are supporting this motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Looking like Sam Jackson hugging Leo on goddamn Django right about now. The fuck?
That's wild to me. And we look at bigots or racists as sworn enemies. But a lot of, I'm keep it a stack. A lot of people, you know what I'm saying, that look like me and you, their politics align in a lot of ways with motherfuckers who they swore as enemies. You know what I mean? Like for a motherfucker look like me to support that type of shit, dog. You know what I mean? Couldn't be me, nigga. You know what I mean?
Not be me.
Could not be me, but that's what's wild to me is like, you know, like we don't like how a man could say that type of shit, and we find ways to. I question how this affects society. Us looking at everybody's nigga. What the? My shit ain't got none of that in that motherfucking nigga. You know what I mean? Especially on a work email. You feel what I'm saying? Like, bro,
listen, bro.
I think you can acknowledge that there's a difference between public and private communication while not saying private communication. You can say whatever you want to say.
What's wrong in this situation? It's not the invasion of privacy is what was said, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But it's like we might make we've made plenty of jokes in the group chat that we would not make on the podcast. We've not called someone the F slur in the fucking group chat.
Flat out.
But that's the thing. These situations, as Tyler said, bring out the people beating the drum, just chanting, "Whom among us? Whom among us?"
Us.
Raise your hand.
Done none of that shit, bro.
Us among us.
You know what I'm saying?
We're over here
Us
casting stones like a motherfucker.
It's crazy. Like, who hasn't said, bro? No, bro. Like, maybe as a kid when I didn't know. As soon as I had some sense, it's like I don't ever use the F word ever, and it's so fucking easy. You know what I mean? Mm. You know, I don't even. I remember when they first had the NBA joint, when they were like, calling somebody gay as a joke was lame. I remember looking at that shit like, shut the fuck up. I don't call nobody none of that shit no more, bro. Even in joke and even in jest, and it's not difficult. You know what I mean? If it's hard for you not to say that shit, it's a problem with you, nigga.
Keep that
it's
to
not
yourself.
Society.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not society's change and we're so soft. Motherfucker, you have the problem, dog. Flat out.
Yeah, it's been so wild seeing like a major defense of this being like, oh, come on, y'all aren't racist in your email? No, motherfucker, we're not.
Homophobic?
Right?
No.
Right?
What the
and
fuck?
Look, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't give a fuck about, first of all, it's not privacy on a company email. You know what I'm saying? And we should, right? If you are
for the biggest media company in the world. By the way.
Exactly. ESPN and NFL emails interacting back and forth. What the fuck? They ain't shit private about that, bro. And we should make motherfuckers be afraid to say this shit on big enough platforms like that.
Period.
Bro, if you want to be a racist, I want you to fucking form a secret society where you got to whisper every third full moon on your meetings about how much you hate Mexicans, bro. I don't want you, I don't give a fuck about your right to fucking spew bigotry. Fuck that and fuck you.
Of the week, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
The third fortnight of the year, we get together and fucking, fuck out of here with this shit, man. I think fuck all of that, and fuck anybody supporting any of that shit. I do not agree with none of that bullshit.
I will never understand people measuring how progressive a society is by how tolerant it is of bigotry. I'm on the complete opposite end of that spectrum. I measure how progressive a society is by how intolerant of bigotry they are. Flat out.